Oh, voice reveal. So, a couple of friends of mine and I wanted to do these drawings where we challenge each other to a different idea every week, and this week's idea was a titan. And not like this kind of titan, but more like that kind of titan. And I came up with the idea I think it was mostly because we wanted to see if we could capture perspective between a large object and a small object or person. And I wanted to do, like, because I took the challenge fucking literally, I did an actual giant and then a small person, or normal sized person and a giant. I was struggling with the composition for ideas, and I came up with this initial one, and then I decided that I was going to do something completely different. Well, it's basically the same fucking idea, but except that this time the giant would have his hand stretching out and down towards the smaller character, just to oomph up that perspective. I started with the hand first because normally that's what I struggle with the most, the placement, and because I thought maybe my brain would work better if I started with the thing that was supposed to be biggest and then work my way down to what is smallest. So I started with the hand, then the shoulder in line with the perspective, and then the head and the body of the giant, and then did the smaller character. It took me a couple of tries to actually figure out the size of the smaller character and where I wanted him positioned. Yes, he is flipping him off. I knew about the character placement, but I didn't know about the surrounding background, and then I ended up going through a couple of ideas about using the sky, and you can see me struggling, but I ended up doing something along the lines of a storm. So I started off by doing these little grid lines just to give me an idea of the space, and then adding in the clouds. I tried to do it digitally at first, but then I went with a more manual approach. Just because I like the way that the lines led your eye back into the giant's face and then down to the main character, or well, smaller character. I usually struggle with clouds a lot, so I try to draw just the one and shade it in a little bit. If you have seen my other videos, not that you have, or even if you have seen this one, but well, you here now and I'm talking to you. So I do a lot of line work and I build for my forms with hatching in one direction because I like the way it gives my characters shape and dimension. Well, you'll see at the end of this drawing, but I think that one of the people, once I posted the finished drawing on the group, he said that I was fucking crazy for doing that many lines with a pen, because I go through an inking process later on in the video, which you'll see. But I did most of my lines with pencil at first because I needed to know how the form was being built and I needed to see it first before I did a finalized version with an ink. Don't judge me, I'm a fucking pussy. I wanted to keep a lot of detail in the giant's face and body because he was the focal point of my drawing. I got nervous around the hand, so I just went to the pecs and then the smaller character at the bottom before I went back to the hand again. If you see my hoodie change throughout the video, it's because it took a fucking long time. I wanted to keep the smaller character quite dark because of the way I placed the light source just beyond the head of the Titan. Because of the way the light fell, I needed to keep the shadows on the hand quite stark, quite harsh. And then I came up with the idea for adding fingerprints onto each of the fingers just to emphasize how big they are, that you could see them from that far away. And then it got me started on this damn dust cloud. I wasn't really sure how I was going to do it because I'm not really used to drawing clouds. But I wanted to fill up the space and isolate the smaller character a bit more from the bigger character by having this cloud in front of him. I tried to build the form by using long lines and contouring these lines along the cloud shapes. At first, I felt like it worked, but later on, I don't feel as confident about it because of the way that it kind of separates the entire drawing into two parts and it doesn't work with the entire composition. I went in with the pencil and drew the forms of the clouds and the shadows of where I wanted them, and then I went in with ink and then went digital immediately after that. I removed all of the whites first, isolated the blacks so that I could work with some shading, and then I used screen tones as well. The first one didn't work so well because it kind of went too dark too quickly. So I used a more even screen tone and decided I was going to build the shadows myself. I started with the harshest light parts, where the light isolated different things, and I kept the edges of what I was cutting out quite jagged, just to emphasize how harsh that light really is. Especially along the hand, because of the light falling from behind the Titan's head. Once I got all of those sections in, I then duplicated that same layer and started removing from the second layer so that I would have a more grey tone, which is what I wanted for the clouds. I went in and pulled the shapes around the lines again, using the eraser tool. Going in and out to check if I was still doing the right thing. Faded out that lines going lower or further into the sky. Give it an illusion of depth. I then feathered out the shapes, just to give it a more softer edge and improve some of the depth. I went along the contours of the cloud to build the shape further as well. I feel like the cloud might have been lighter and then the character much darker, the way it ended up, now that I'm looking at it again. But I'll probably do that at a later point, if I do it over. I tried to isolate the whites first, but it didn't come out. It came out too harsh, so I put it back and then I used a stippled eraser to get a more dust-like effect and give the edges a softer feel on the clouds.
Put in this image, stretch and pull the shit out of it to make some ready. And then use some of the layer effects and inverted it. To give it a more soft light effect. I think the soft light can make that well. Because it changed the whole lighting for exactly what I hoped it would.
Once that was done, I just isolated the eye and then made him look down so that it would give him a more menacing appeal. And that was the end of the drawing. Hope you enjoyed.